Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here and welcome back to another video on The Flash Season 7. And this will be my video in regards to what The Flash Season 7 must do for it to be a very successful season of The Flash. And this is in my opinion, so in my point of view at least, this is what The Flash Season 7 must deliver for it to be one of the greatest seasons of The Flash. So for this list, I put it in a top 5 order that in my opinion should happen. However, I also do have one honorable mention as well because I really wanted to squeeze that in, but I just couldn't because the other ones are really more important. So I just put that as an honorable mention. But before I go over anything, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so let's go over the top 5 things that The Flash Season 7 must do in order for it to be one of the greatest seasons that The Flash can have, if not the best. So, number 1 for my list, I put the main villain. Now, in terms of this, I am only referring to the main villain after the Mirror Master story has come to an end. So, it's been a while now since The Flash had a non-speedster villain, which was interesting, and it did need that change because the first 3 seasons of The Flash were a speedster villain, and with this we were able to get one of the greatest villains that the show has had, such as Bloodwork and the Thinker. However, it's been way too long now and we've had more non-speedster villains than we did speedster villains, so it's about time that they bring in a main antagonist that challenges the Flash in terms of the speed that they have. Now, from what we know of so far and the teasers that we had, that villain looks to be Godspeed so far, so they're already heading to that direction. So Godspeed is said to be our main villain post the Mirror Master story. And we pretty much know his motivations already, which is that he wants infinite velocity, he is obsessed with speed. But what I do hope is that they explain why that is the case. Why is he so obsessed with speed? That's what I want to know. And why is it that he sent these Godspeed clones after the Flash rather than him just going right after him? So hopefully they explain that as well. So like what are the significance of these Godspeed clones? Like, why didn't he just go after them alone? Now with Godspeed, although he's seen more of an anti-hero than he is a villain in the comics, the show is going to change that up by the looks of it, and they're going to make him look like a full-on villain, which I honestly don't mind. So I want something within this storyline where it really builds up the rivalry and delivers these satisfying and intense scenes between the hero and the villain. And just like previous speedster villains that we had, forcing our Scarlet Speedster to go faster in order to stop Godspeed. And then this would eventually lead to a very shocking and unexpected identity reveal, which will get our jaws to drop. Because with the previous couple of villains, we literally knew who they were from the get-go, and it really didn't deliver those WTF moments that we used to get. So hopefully they do something which gives us this very shocking and mind-blowing identity reveal. And with all that mystery being established with the Godspeed clones and things like that, I really want them to just extend that mystery a lot further into the identity of this real Godspeed and who is behind that mask. Because in my opinion, I don't think that's going to be August Hart. He's already been done in Season 5, Episode 18, and judging from the Season 7 synopsis, where it says the Flash will ultimately defeat Mirror Master, but in doing so, he'll unleash an even more powerful and devastating threat on Central City, one that threatens to tear his team and his marriage apart. So as I said before, this doesn't sound like Godspeed and has nothing to do with the Barry and Iris's marriage. And the fact that the synopsis specifically mentions the West Allen marriage shows that the villain has a very personal connection to both Barry and Iris. And that just doesn't sound like August Hart, does it? So hopefully we will get an interesting reveal to who is behind that mask. Now, I did actually make a theory video in regards to who the real Godspeed could be on the show, and I will link that in the description down below so you guys can check it out. But another thing I really hope that they explain when they bring in the real Godspeed is how on earth does Godspeed have the Speed Force with him? Because the Speed Force is dead, and he couldn't be using the negative Speed Force because he wouldn't know how to tap into it, or his Speedster Lightning would have been red. So I really hope they explain how this version of Godspeed has the Speed Force with him. And moving on to number 2, Team Flash. Now, as the seasons go by, we obviously get more and more new characters and them getting promoted as series regulars for the next upcoming season. And now I believe that they reached this point where we just have way too many Team Flash members. So hopefully in the Flash Season 7 they do something where the people who are meant to be in Star Labs are in Star Labs for the majority of the time. However, the other characters like Iris, Camilla, Allegra, they do whatever. So Barry, Cisco, Caitlin, Chester, Nash, and Joe, they're the ones who do the Team Flash stuff for the majority of the time. So those are the only characters that should be sticking around Star Labs. It should only consist of these characters, if not less, because like the characters I've mentioned were still a lot. Now, although everybody would want to see an OG Team Flash again, this would be the best that we would get in terms of an OG Team Flash due to the new characters being promoted as the series regular, and saying that they have nothing to do with the other characters. They would really be sticking around Star Labs. So these are the characters that would stay in Star Labs. And then for people who aren't supposed to be in Star Labs, so Iris, Camilla, Allegra, Cecile, and maybe Nash, he pops in here and there sometimes because he has his tie-ins with Allegra. So these characters will be in the Central City Citizen doing their own thing. And only when things get so intense do we have all of the whole series regulars, all 9 series regulars come into Star Labs. Now, from the new filming restrictions the sets will be getting, I think this is what they will be doing anyways, because not too many people are allowed in one specific spot, which I think would at least benefit this show, because there are just way too many characters at the moment who are in Star Labs who shouldn't necessarily be there, and I think it just takes away some cool character interactions. So moving on to number 3, the new Speed Force. So obviously one thing that we had really affecting our Scarlet Speedster last season is the death of the Speed Force, and since then basically we've seen how the loss of Barry's speed slowly affects him. And we obviously found out that Barry wanted to create an artificial Speed Force, and we've seen Team Flash working on it throughout Season 6. But unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we will now be seeing the new Speed Force come into existence for Season 7. Now, by the looks of it in the trailer, Barry should be getting his speed back in episode 1 of this season. However, I don't think it should be something like where he just gets his speed back and we move on from there. This introduction of the new Speed Force, in my opinion, can create some really good story opportunities to explore, and maybe some certain new abilities Barry may get as well. Or maybe not have some certain abilities like he used to, like something like that for a change. Whatever they do, hopefully this new Speed Force doesn't make him slower and keeps him in the speed that we saw him like pre-Crisis, because really the inconsistency in Barry's speed is just crazy and it creates lots of issues sometimes. So hopefully with the new Speed Force they don't do something like that. But yeah, the new Speed Force could be a very good plot device to play along with, because it's obviously something new that will affect the show going forward. So getting to explore this new Speed Force and how it differentiates between the original one, I just hope they do something with the new Speed Force. But moving on to number 4, I have the story. Now with the story and the structure of the season, we know we will be getting the graphic novel approach again for Season 7. Now, it was said that we will be getting multiple graphic novels this season. I don't know if that's still the plan, but we will still be having the graphic novels. Now, the introduction of the graphic novels was a really good addition for The Flash Season 6, as we got 2 separate and different stories which didn't get boring. And that's obviously because the story didn't get stretched out for 22 episodes and have so many fillers with it. So having that graphic novel approach for Season 6 was nice and engaging because the 2 separate stories were short. The second half, obviously, it's unfinished and it wasn't their fault, so I'm not really going to comment on that. However, I did have some sort of an issue with the story last season, and that revolved around Iris. Now, Iris was really treated as a main character. Now, although Iris is the main female lead and is one of the main characters of the show, she had more of a role than Barry when you really think about it. And although I didn't mind that because season 6 was really strong for Iris, the Mirror Master story was driven for way too long and should have been wrapped up a lot earlier. We had Iris trapped in the Mirrorverse from episode 10 of season 6, and she still isn't out. So having that big of a story wasn't something I was a massive fan of, although it was good. So what I really hope they do for season 7 is that Barry should get a main story arc for the entire season 7, and no one else should really get that main story. So the other characters should be getting those minor stories within the season 7 episodes. So we would have Barry and Team Flash doing their thing, like in season 1 and 2, where they catch metahumans and dealing with the main villain, obviously. But as a side quest to that, we have the Central City Citizen story, which is short and not dragged on and could be wrapped up in like 2 to 3 episodes at most, while still having Barry as the main focus. Now, by the looks of it, in regards to the main villain being a very personal villain to both Barry and Iris, that would be when I would be for having the main story revolving around Iris, because it revolves around the West Allen relationship in general. However, one story that I believe should happen is Iris dealing with the repercussions of the Mirrorverse, because Iris was trapped there for a long time, well over 8 weeks, and she's adapted to this Mirrorverse and she's been through a lot. So hopefully when Iris gets out of the Mirrorverse, she won't go like, oh no, I'm all good. She should be dealing with the fallout of the Mirrorverse and how she got out from it, and like how these adaptations to the Mirrorverse changed her in the real world. So hopefully they do something along with that. Also, with the story, I do hope they give Chester and Allegra something to do for this season, because there should be a reason to why these characters were upped as series regulars, aside from the fact that Eric Wallace has a very personal connection to these characters in a way. So they should get like a mini story of their own as well. Now, before I get into the last one in the list, I will go over this honorable mention real quick, and that is to bring back the scientific talks. Now, due to how many new characters we have added to the show, it's hard for us to see Barry doing some forensic work, and that was something really fun we had for season 1, 2, and 3. Season 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it was sad to see Barry not doing this anymore. Also, same for Team Flash. We barely see them talk about these scientific stuff anymore, and they use Crisis as an excuse to that. However, something they hopefully do going into season 7 is bringing those back, because really when you think about it, we barely saw Barry do anything that cool with his intellect, and we know Barry is just such an intelligent character, but we barely saw him do anything like that smart for season 6. Like when watching episode 2 of season 6, we obviously had Barry finally build Gideon, and that literally just reminded me how smart Barry is, and really after that we never really saw those nerdy stuff anymore like we used to have. And as I rewatched previous seasons of The Flash, it just really made me want to have those scientific talks back. So hopefully they bring those back again, at least for the Star Lab stuff, if they're not doing Barry with his forensic work again. But moving on to number 5, the last thing on the list, and that is the Reverse Flash cliffhanger. Now, in season 6 of The Flash, we obviously saw the Reverse Flash as like this spirit type of thing, as there is no more Harrison Wells' body for him to take over due to Crisis, and Nash Wells is now the only existing Harrison Wells in Earth Prime. But Thawne isn't dead due to the negative Speedforce basically shielding him from certain changes. And obviously we had Thawne taking over the body of Nash, and obviously with the help of Team Flash, Thawne left Nash's body. Now, in the original season 6 finale, we were said to be having this big Reverse Flash cliffhanger to end off the season. And since the first 3 episodes of season 7 are literally the unfinished episodes of season 6, so episode 20, 21, and 22, we should be expecting that cliffhanger coming in at episode 3. However, the issue with this is it would just be so random having a Reverse Flash cliffhanger during the 3rd episode, so they definitely should bring in like different plans in regards to the Reverse Flash cliffhanger. Now, hopefully they don't wrap it up, because that would obviously be something that will get us all triggered, but instead should do something where they put it as like the mid-season finale, and leading it into the back half of season 7, or with whatever they have planned, they should reserve the Reverse Flash cliffhanger to the ending of season 7. So the season 7 finale, the ending for that is when we have the Reverse Flash cliffhanger, and that cliffhanger leads to the Flash season 8. And then we would possibly have that new Reverse Flash as the main villain for season 8, but not wrap him up, because in my opinion, Reverse Flash should be the main villain for this series finale of the Flash, whenever that is going to be, and obviously end off Reverse Flash like that. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about my list, and also be sure to give me your list in the comment section down below. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.